What is up, Minglers? Pammy's back with another video. I believe this is going to be part 4 for King's Quest 2. So in the last video we got this shiny, beautiful blue gem here, known as the birth gem or the water gem. And now we're going to see what we can do about getting ourselves up into the air so we can get the growth gem. So, this sounds like a good time to hit back into town. See if anything new is going on since we left. So that's where we'll head now. Plus, in the last video we got the hanky for the guy in the haystack. So I need to give that to him, and we should stop by the library to see if they have any new books to read, because I love books! I love to read! And I love libraries. Okay, so I gotta do this before I forget, because even though this seems like a really small, inconsequential thing to give this guy this hanky, if you don't, you actually can't complete the game. And that's something that I love about these games, is like, I love it and it's so frustrating all at the same time.
Here, this might help your sneezing.
Oh, thanks.
Yo.
Here, you can have this back now.
You retrieve the partially used cloth from the haystack.
Feel better?
Yeah, it's so good to be able to
So as I was saying,
You take the silver needle.
this was so awesome and so frustrating about these Sierra games in general. Oh, that's the key that looks like King's Quest, but it's for Klima. Anyway, the smallest, most inconsequential thing could potentially break the game for you and make it unwinnable. So that's why it's really important that you talk to people as thoroughly as you can, that you look at everything as thoroughly as you can, that you combine items and try to use them on everything, because you never know what you might miss.
Yes?
Could you recommend another good book?
There!
Okay, let's see what this says.
This book is entitled Legends. Browsing through it, you notice an interesting excerpt.
Ugh, where's Chase when I need him? He's supposed to be my reading man. Okay, Legends. Daventry's first king, known to many as Legenimor, was as much an enigma of history as he is woven into the fabric of legend itself. Hey, wait a minute, it's about Daventry. We're in Klima. Daventry is where I'm from. Though his passing occurred nearly 1,000 years ago, it remains somewhat unclear as to the manner of his death and what became of the power he wielded. Historians do know that Legenimor was a powerful magician or wizard, as he might be called nowadays. He is largely credited with bringing, along with his kind, magic and civility to Daventry and the surrounding world. According to legend, during what was arguably the bloodiest war Daventry has ever seen, Legenimor sought to commit his awesome power to the cosmos. It is believed that he blamed himself for the extent of the Grand War, in particular the magic that had been used to exacerbate the death toll. He therefore chose to render himself mortal, an action that would prove to be his last. However, legend would also suggest that his power may be attainable if only one were to perceive and understand how and when. This is evidenced by a parchment located just a few centuries ago and dated 30 years after the first king's death. Oh my goodness, okay. If seeketh you the power of Legenimor, thou shalt be well appraised. It will not be an easy task. From the path thou may be swayed. For in great Daventry lies the means for which it may be found, belonging to one who rules the land, by one who wears the crown from the circle nature springs. For moral thoughts thus sown, there will be tied the unjust thief who claims it for his own. In this great land is known to rest the corpse of Legenimor, who died defending his home turf. In the longest, fiercest war, his great mistake, which sealed his fate. He cast his magic aside up high into the heavens, which forever stretches wide. But the search may be rewarding for the seeker of this power, as its apex soon approaches. When cometh the darkest hour, hark! Spy sun and moon and planets, as all of them aligned, the one prepared for the ascension, will surely see the sign. Power thus can then be granted to just one from this great tool. If one be thee, then thou shalt be the everlasting jewel. Wow, that was loaded. The first king's brother, was also presumed killed in the Grand War. Legitimar's loyal first knight and successor, Granthathor. Wait a second. Granthathor? Isn't that the name of our minister? Right? Somebody go back to the first video and look at that. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Legitimar's loyal first knight and successor, Granthathor, ruled over the realm for nearly 50 years. He sired a number of children who either remained to guarantee the continuation of the royal bloodline or set forth to build kingdoms of their own. Huh. So that actually gives quite a bit of information that is important to this current story, but also to the lore of King's Quest in general. So I find that very interesting. Air. I need air because I need this air gem. Alright. So if we try to come in here too early in the game, it'll say that the shop is closed.
Good afternoon. What can I do for you, dear?
Hello. Do you sell anything that would aid an ascent up a mountain?
Unfortunately, I do not sell climbing equipment or anything of that sort. This is really a specialist store.
Oh.
However, I do have an item which you might find useful. This lamp is said to contain a genie. Never tried it myself, of course. I do not believe in using magic to solve my problems. Nature has made us as we are, and we should be glad of that.
Uh-huh. How much for the lamp?
The old lady hesitates. You sense she wants more from you than your money. You hope it is not anything but regret.
Well, seeing as how you are a man who seems adept at taking care of himself, perhaps you could do a small favor for me?
Somehow, you knew she was going to say that.
I once owned a beautiful nightingale, quite rare around here, but the sentimental value far outweighs its monetary worth. That foul old witch Hagatha has stolen it from me, probably to use in some concoction or another.
Her nose screws up in disgust.
So, if you could be a sweetie and retrieve it for me, I will trade you the lamp for the bird. Agreed?
Well, I will see what I can do.
Do be careful. If Agatha should spot you out of her good eye, then you'll be in for it.
Yikes. Alright, well, this can't be too hard, right? We are the finest king in all of Daventry. And we already know that Hagatha's basically our enemy, from what the pumpkin told us, so this is kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation, so let's just see what we can do to help her out. Okay. Oh, Hagatha! Where are you? Okay. Well, that was fun. I actually wondered when I gave it to the screen if that was going to happen or not, because it happens randomly. That's something else I love about these games is, like, they're very aware of themselves and they're not afraid to put in just fun little quirky things like that, and I think it just makes them very charming. Anywho, back to the task at hand.
As you attempt to place the birth gem into the skull, you discover that it does not fit properly. Instead, it juts out uselessly like a bulging eyeball.
So I know I mentioned this in another video that when I play these games, I kind of like to just get to the point.
You gently tap the birth gem with the mallet, hoping not to break it. It budges only slightly. You give it a harder hit. It moves a bit more. You hold your breath and give the gem an almighty thwack. It pops into the skull.
That's partially because if you kind of go around feigning ignorance, it just seems to waste a lot of
As
time.
you face the skull towards the image of the bat above the cave, you notice that its wing has faded slightly. However, you suspect that whatever danger the bat represents is still in effect. You turn the rightmost skull so that it faces the bat symbol above the cave entrance. The power of the two skulls combined has caused the bat symbol to disappear. You sense whatever danger it represented has now subsided.
And when you consider that, a lot of other people, when they do these walkthroughs, they've already taken care of the whole, I'm discovering this for the first time, or I'm going to pretend I'm discovering this for the first time. And, if people want that in their walkthroughs, that's totally fine. I watch stuff like that all the time because I think they can be entertaining depending on who does it. But, I know that when I am looking for help with a game, I would rather watch something that's straightforward and to the point so that I can more quickly find what I'm looking for. So that's kind of more what I like to do when I make them.
As you enter, you are almost overwhelmed by the foul stench which molests your nostrils. It is obviously coming from whatever Hagatha is cooking in that large cauldron of hers. There are some things of interest on the other side of the cave, but you have no means of crossing over there safely at this time. A caged nightingale sits on the floor near the northern cave wall. The light from outside barely penetrates the interior of this cave. So long as you keep your distance, Hagatha shouldn't notice you.
Okay. So gotta make sure we keep around the edge here. We do have to act
You need
quickly,
to get close.
because if we stay in here for too long, she will catch us and kill us.
Being as quiet as a mouse, you slide your hand inside the cloak to discover a deep pocket. Amongst sticky and disgusting spell ingredients, you find a tiny silver key and a peculiar golden ring-shaped device.
The fluid of blood with bone and flesh.
Yeah, so we want to be out of here before she finishes her little
You
incantation.
silently drop the cloth over the cage.
Okay. I need the key.
Twill make my complexion.
You slide the silver key
and
into the lock.
fresh.
It fits. You turn it silently, and the chain falls to the ground.
Okay. Now let's get this burning.
Inducing time.
Without making a
to
sound, you
reverse
take the
its fail.
nightingale into your possession.
We gotta hurry, man. Hurry, hurry.
Need is a sweet.
That was close. I think that was the end of her incantation. So that was very close.
You strike the skull with all your strength, and it shatters easily. The birth gem clatters to the ground, along with a multitude of bone fragments.
Okay, so we cannot go back in there
You
now
acquire the birth gem.
since we broke the skull. Ah, sorry, my mouse keeps messing up. Ah, jeez Louise. Whee. This is what I get for laying in such a weird position when recording and using my laptop mouse. Okay, so let's go back and get her this bird. Alright. There we go. Okay. Alright, lady. Do you know what I went through to get your stupid bird? This lamp better have a genie in it.
Offer the nightingale to Angelina. The sheer elation on her face almost makes the whole risk worth the while.
Aw, aren't we so
She
nice?
snatches it from you and proceeds to fuss over the bird. You wait for a moment, but it seems she no longer notices you.
If you don't mind, about the lamp you promised me in trade for the nightingale?
The shopkeeper looks up at you vaguely. she gradually remembers that there is another being in her world.
Wow.
Yes? Oh, yes, take it. You'll have no beginning of use with it.
Don't you mean no end of use?
Of course. Whatever you say, dear.
You hear Angelina muttering cheerfully to herself as she exits.
Finally, I have the final ingredient for that marvelous youth potion. I am going to beat you to the punch, my dear Agatha. Serves you right for hoarding this sweet, juicy thing to yourself.
Nauseous tinge in your stomach. Well, at least the lamp is now yours.
I am uncomfortable.
You take the old lamp.
Alright guys, here goes nothing. Big bucks, no whammies.
You rub the lamp and wait expectantly, but nothing happens. You're about to give it another try when a small puff of smoke appears at the end of the spout. It clears, revealing a note. As you remove it, the lamp disappears. You read the scroll.
To the unlucky fool who bought this lamp, as you may have gathered, this lamp no longer contains a fabulous genie, as my former master, praised him and his greatness, has released me with his final wish. However, as a consolation, please be advised of the following. The shopkeeper is not to be trusted. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for telling me that now. She dabbles in the black arts and keeps rather distasteful company. May these words reveal what lies beneath, and may your findings lead you to a higher position in life. So hard like a stone and white like the snow stands silent the man who guards what's below. May you forever know the beauty of freedom. Signed, Nibor Samo. What? Nibor Simowil? I'm sure that's gotta be a pun in there somewhere that I'm just not getting. AKA Genie. Alright, so it's referring to this guy over here.
Upon closer examination, you discover that the statue hides a small latch. You flip the latch and watch in amazement as a trap door opens up from the floor.
Alright, let's go down.
You close the trap door behind you.
Okay, let's read this note on the table since we love reading.
The letter sitting on the desk.
Whew, here we go. Angelina, once again I put to you an invitation to join our illustrious community. Unsurprisingly, you have heard of its reputation through other channels. I personally encourage you to give it serious thought. We are not only interested in new membership from the mages of this world. This invitation goes out to all who believe that, when the appointed time comes, only the faithful will be rewarded. The rest of those poor, unenlightened fools will perish. All that is asked in return is complete allegiance to the Father. He has guided us from the beginning, and his power is far older than most. I know you are hesitant due to concerns regarding the dress code. Let me assure you that black would look simply charming on you, dear. My gratitude goes out to you for your flattering assertion that I would make a fine ruler of Kalima. What a shame that the former ruler has lost all interest in this homeland. I cannot blame him, however. The change struck him quite hard. To answer your earlier question, yes, I have acquired a nightingale. They are most uncommon in this region, and yes, I am quite sure that it is the final ingredient required to complete my youth potion. As much as I would like to share it with you, I'm afraid that a single nightingale will provide only enough solution for one person. In any event, I shall, of course, pay you a visit the moment the youth potion takes effect. H, which we can assume to mean Hagatha. Let's save. Take a look at this rug.
Pick up the carpet. You notice a small label which reads, "Property of Al Din." There might be a faded letter or two in there, but you cannot be sure.
Aldin. Aladdin.
Angelina's voice.
I did it! I did it! The youth potion is finally finished. All I need to do now is drink it.
Angelina, show yourself, you scurvy wench.
Agatha? My dear! What an unexpected surprise!
Don't you play the fool with me. I know you stole it.
Stole? Really, I do not know.
Silence. For your lies and deceit, there can be only one consequence.
No, please! I can explain.
I said silence. Oh, and one more thing. Your invitation to join us is revoked. What is this? Ah, the youth potion at last. Oh no. Drat! Now what was that spell for removing floorboards?
Man, that was so savage. So savage. Okay, so I very recently replayed this game before doing this run through, and I got all the way to the end of the game before I realized that I never picked up the youth potion.
Fish around in the pile of down and successfully retrieve the youth potion.
And you need this to win the game. I could not believe it. It was the first time that I've ever played this game that I forgot to pick it up. So don't be an idiot like me. If you play this, make sure you pick it up.
Cautiously, you open the trapdoor ever so slightly and peer into the room above. Agatha is nowhere to be seen. You make your exit from the basement.
Okay, so let's go ahead and close the door.
Flick the latch. The trapdoor closes and conceals itself into the floorboards once more.
Alright, let's get out of here. That was a close one. Any more books? Any more books for me to read? Oh, there is.
Yes?
Could you recommend another good book?
There!
Alright guys, let's do this.
This book is entitled Power, Politics, and Pulpits. Browsing through it, you notice an interesting excerpt.
Oh my gosh, okay. Whew. Maybe one of these days I'll do one of my speed reading I used to do for my students. Power, politics, and pulpits. In many lands, the church and state have long shared a mutual distrust of one another. While the state is responsible for the wealth and security of the realm, the church's concern is for the moral standing of the population. It is said that when one intrudes upon the domain of the other, discord is inevitable. In no other place has this been more unpleasant than Kalima. The feud between the two institutions there dates back many decades. In the days of the late Count Krystrom, the Lord of Kalima spoke openly of the need for change, chiefly regarding the education of the common people. The Church of the Faith maintained that the simple people were of the land, they knew their rightful place, and thus their path was secure. Years later, the young and idealistic Count Kaldor, Krystrom's heir, declared that the Church of the Faith had purposely been holding the people back, retaining their ignorance of literature and the wider world for their own selfish benefit. Naturally, the church resented this insinuation and in turn declared Kaldor a heathen. At that time, the mood of the population had tensed. Stability in the realm had weakened as dissension between the church and state rose. It may have continued to do so had the situation not been annulled by tragedy. The Count befell a terrible injury while in the forest one night which later proved fatal. While it expressed its condolences to the family of the fallen lord, the Church of the Faith asserted that only through its own vision for Kalima, not the rulers, could the people find their true their true path. It is a curious point to note that no new leader has been chosen to replace Kaldor, though it has been many years since his passing. When questioned about this, the townsfolk are likely to either ignore the inquiry altogether, or cast a furtive glance in the direction of the now inaccessible castle. So this is very important. Because Kaldor is the ruler that everybody keeps referring to as being dead, but there's been no ruler since him, and it's really important to know that he and the church outside of town here did not get along. So, just something to keep in mind. Okay, this should be far enough out. We can use our magic carpet. Here we go!
You unroll the magic carpet, lay it on the ground, and sit on it. The carpet begins to rise skyward. As you ascend higher, you realize that the carpet is beyond your control. It glides through the air on a seemingly predetermined course.
Whee! Okay. Oh boy. This can't be good. Let's save. Want to get close, but not too close. Oh.
You bend
Yeah.
over the shimmering opal in front of the snake. It soon falls hypnotized in typical snake fashion.
Typical snake fashion. Wow. Nice one. Oh, this is fun. I like this.
You reach into the cavity and feel around. What is this? You've discovered a button hidden inside the rock. You press it and wait to see what happens next. In an instant, a man stands beside you. He appears to be somewhat of an adventurer, much like yourself.
Greetings. I am King Graham of Daventry.
The newcomer nods in greeting. Without a word, he respectfully appraises you. You notice about him the manner of one who has only recently learnt the meaning of heroism.
From where do you hail, good sir?
The man opens his mouth to answer, but then pauses to consider that question. Evidently deciding that irrelevant exposition would serve neither party, he casually gestures to the hole in the rock behind you.
Might I inquire something of your identity?
After a brief search of his own person, the man pulls out a scroll card and hands it to you. You unroll it, and it reads, "Having fulfilled the requirements in accordance with the statutes of the famous Adventurers Correspondence School, the bearer is a qualified would-be hero." The man also shows you a medallion. Upon it are the words, "Hero of Spielberg." You reverently return the scroll to the man.
You don't say much, do you?
With a sigh of resignation, the man shakes his head silently.
Surely you might speak to me of your adventures.
The man becomes quite enthused about the prospect of relating his most recent adventure to you. Just as he is about to speak, however, you notice something on the ground that the man must have dropped. You retrieve the paper. It appears to be a scroll. Upon it is some writing. Disclaimer: you have just witnessed a rather shameless plug for the remake of Quest for Glory 2 Trial by Fire by the entities of AGD Interactive. Available now. As you read the writing, the words are ingrained in your mind. The scroll disappears.
So I love that because, like it says, it's a plug for another. So there's another series from Sierra called Quest for Glory, and AGD Interactive, who redid the first 3 games for King's Quest, also redid the second game for Quest for Glory, which came out at about the same time as their remake of King's Quest 2. Another fantastic series. I might go through that someday. Really, really great. A lot of people ask me if I like King's Quest or Quest for Glory more, and I just can't decide. They're both so great in their own way.
And cures. The first half contains a list of enchantments. These do not interest you, as you have no desire to inflict inconvenience upon others. However, the cures section does capture your curiosity. While browsing, you spy a promising paragraph.
The old book of enchantments causes cures. Blah. While casting enchantments upon others may provide you with many daily hours of fun, do not ignore the danger that a miscast spell may have upon your own person. For this reason, you should prepare a simple item with which you can protect yourself against the effects of an enchantment, as well as providing a means for reversing such spells should it be deemed necessary. Only the power of the emerald can properly dispel an enchantment, and thus the steps to create one are as follows. Firstly, heat a blue mineral and yellow vegetable, a plain and acceptable alternative, together until they coagulate into a greenish liquid. Stir the mixture with a white feather. Drop into this a perfectly clear crystal and recite, "Heed now these words, crystal perfect. Green is thy hue, restore, correct. Guard well my form, preserve, protect." You will now have the means to safeguard yourself, should your enchantments ever get out of hand. To restore that which is under the effect of an enchantment, simply allow a strong light to pass through your emerald of the subject, then beholds the restoration. So this is very, very important that we have this, so we're just going to go ahead and make this right now. So this firstly, heat a blue mineral and yellow vegetable or a plant. So I know that we have the yellow flower that we got from Possum, and this seems to be a blue emerald. Actually, let me look at the table first.
You approach the workbench for a closer look.
There we go. Now we can do this.
You toss the brooch into the beaker.
So put that in, and we'll put the flower in.
You toss the sickly yellow flower into the beaker.
And
Unfortunately, you cannot cast fire from your fingertips.
alright, I thought you knew I was trying to do this.
You strike the blade of your sword against the flint stone. It sparks, and the wick catches alight. You watch, fascinated, as the two unlikely objects melt under the heat of the magical flame.
Okay, and I think I have to
You flip
stir
through the first
this.
half.
So stir the mixture with a white feather, and then put it in a clear crystal. Okay, so I was right. This is why we needed the feather from the bird.
Stir the mixture carefully with the white feather. It soon dissolves in the hot liquid.
And if you look at the sword, you see there's actually a clear crystal at the
You
end.
managed to dislodge the crystal that had been set within the hilt of the sword almost a millennium ago. You feel a tinge of guilt and wonder what all the past monarchs of Daventry would say if they saw you damaging ancient crown property.
That's why we're not gonna tell them. Shh, be quiet, narrator.
You drop the crystal in and watch, amazed, as the green liquid slowly seeps into it.
Okay, and then I think I have to put this out.
Extinguishing candle flames with your bare fingertips always seems to result in a nasty burn. You were never any good at party tricks.
No, I remember now. We have to say the
Heed
thing.
now these words. Crystal, perfect. Green is thy hue. Restore, correct. Guard well my form. Preserve, protect.
You recite the words correctly, line for line, and sure enough, only a brilliant emerald remains in the glass beaker. You quickly blow the flame out so as not to overheat the emerald and cause damage to it.
Hooray! We did it.
Picking it up gingerly, you're amazed that the emerald took virtually no time at all to cool.
So, this is going to help us a lot. Not only will it protect us against enchantments thrown at us, but it will also help us transform people to what they're supposed to be. So, this video is running pretty long.
Steps
Oh,
approaching.
just kidding. Let's do this first.
Uh-oh, the enchanter has caught you in his lair. He twirls his hands, aims them at you, and then utters some words under his breath. You feel a tingling sensation all over your body as the enchantment attempts to transform you into whatever the enchanter has fancied. At the same time, you also feel the comforting energy of the emerald shield.
Yeah!
The enchanter's twisted smile turns downwards. He scowls at you. There is a look of panic on the man's face. He does not dare breathe.
I hereby order you to depart from Kalima forever, never to trouble its citizens again, lest you earn the fullness of my wrath.
The enchanter looks
How
back,
jacked I am.
sigh inwardly, and try again.
Leave. If you come back, then you will get it.
The enchanter nods frantically, as much as he can without cutting his own neck on your sword edge. He gestures quickly with his hands.
Alright, well, that's what I meant when I said it will protect you. Now, I will say, let's end this for now. For sure in the next episode, we're gonna get the growth gem. So, in the meantime, that's it for me for now. Peace out, and I'll see you later.